Record. All right, what's up, guys? Coach Todd here. It is our Elevation Coaches team call. It's October 5th, 2015. We have a very special guest tonight. You guys have heard from her before, Lindsay Kumar. She's going to be talking about how to step outside your comfort zone, what opportunities that opens up to you. She just recently did a live presentation on stage in front of 50 women. Obviously something that would scare even me, but she did it, and she's going to be talking to us about it tonight and how stepping outside of our comfort zone can help us grow our businesses. So without saying anything else, I'm going to hand it off to Lindsay. And while you're going, I might interrupt you and ask you some questions. But if you just want to share, maybe start off by how you met this lady that asked you to present to the women at that church. I think you're muted.
No, I unmuted. Okay, I was waiting for you to finish.
Okay.
Yeah, so basically, I think everybody on here has seen, including one of my coaches, Lisa, who met me, and everybody else on here. I do a lot of Facebook posting. That tends to be my niche at this moment, or my social media outlet that I'm good at, that I've mastered. And so I put a lot on Facebook, and I have a couple groups that I'm in, and I had posted on one of my Facebook groups my transformation at some point. I posted in this group twice, actually. I became a coach October of 2014. In November 2014, I made my first post in there, and I got a huge wave of people. And I don't remember if Todd remembers, but I was talking about being there.
The coupon group?
Yeah, I had like this. No, it was my Lodi-Ville group. It was a local like garage sale advertisement group.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I remember.
And I got a huge wave of people that time in November. And then a long time went by, and I was doing okay. But then we started the Team Cup. We got back from Nashville, started the Team Cup. I was making my list of 100 people to contact. I'm on the Team Cup, and I'm making this list, and I only have 75, I guess, new people that I felt I can contact. And then I had, a bunch of follow-ups, and I thought, I'm going to put another post in that group. So I put another post in that group, so that would have been somewhere in July, because I knew Team Cup was coming up in August. And this woman reached, a lot of people, again, I had a good response. Mm-hmm. One of the people who reached out to me messaged me and said, what is it you do exactly? I'm really interested. And I started, explaining it to her. And she said, well, would you be willing to speak to women at my church? And I initially just said, sure. I didn't even think twice about it. I just figured I'd be in front of, 10 or 15 people at a Bible study or something and speaking to them. And she said, okay. And she said, well, let me get more info. And then like a little bit of time went by, and she didn't really message back. She vetted me pretty well, asked a few questions, and I, given her the answers to those questions, like what does it cost? What do you do? These type of things. And I tried to give those answers, as we all talk about, build relationships before you spew money.
Yeah.
So I tried to give those answers without just saying, oh, you're going to pay this, you're going to pay that. I tried to explain I'm a free coach. I run free groups. I help people. Your cost is going to be whatever tools you need. So I tried to be somewhat vague with that, but explain what I do. So about a month went by. That was in July. In August, I get another, it's like late August, I get another message that says, hey, sorry it took me so long to get back to you. I was talking to somebody else and I thought it was you. Don't ask me what I was thinking, but I realized it wasn't you because I follow you on Facebook and I see your post. And so, yeah, I want to know more about this. Again, it was further vetting. She was wanted to be very thorough on what it is I did, and if the women could afford it, and if anybody could do it. And so I had expressed to her where I'd started, where I'm at now, and I did. I actually then talked about money, and I told her, I said, I have a bachelor's degree and a master's degree. I said, none of them are in health and nutrition. I said, leave that to professionals. So I buy my programs, and I buy what I need, because they figured that out. I just give the support and accountability and motivation in my groups. I don't actually design this stuff, but this is all the stuff I use to get it. And I told her, I said, at the end of the day, it's a replacement cost. It is not a new cost. I said, if these women continue on, the same choices they're making and add this, then yes, it's new cost. I said, but if they change choices and put this in replace of it, it's not new cost. At the end of the day, we all pay somehow. Whether we're going to pay in medical bills, prescriptions, or the junk food we're eating, or we're going to pay, the 144 Shakeology and whatever, $30 for a workout program when you buy a challenge pack. Somewhere, some way, you're paying. It's just where you choose to put the money.
Yeah.
So I kind of told her that. And then I, shared more pictures and everything else. And she goes, oh yeah, I completely agree. This actually sounds like something I'd be interested. She started talking about being a runner and all these other things, and was impressed with my before and afters and what she followed me on Facebook. So she'd been following me for a while before she reached out to me. And she said, so yeah, I love this. I'd really love for you to come speak to my church. I have this event. There'll be about 200 people there. She said, so would you come be a breakout session? You'll have 30 minutes and you'll be a session they could break out to, and there'll be about 200 people at the event total. And so I said yes, because I'm thinking, what an opportunity. And then everything kind of started to sink in as time went on. And I'm thinking I'm getting closer and closer, and I haven't really prepared much, because this is, it's not till October 3rd that I have to go do this. And she reached out to me in July. And as I get closer and closer, I'm thinking, why did you say yes? You don't know any of these people. You don't go to this congregation. You don't know these people. You don't know this woman. What are you walking into? And I just kept trying to talk myself out of going, telling myself, I like the way I do things. I like my social media, the computer between me, pick up a phone between me. I don't want to be in front of all these people. And then pack up my stuff. And then she started telling me, you might want to even make a booth. This was like 2 weeks out. I'm thinking, a booth? I'm not a vendor. I don't sell things. I don't want a booth. She's like, well, there'll be 200 people there, and who chooses to come to your session will be who's interested in what you're presenting. Because she had a session on depression, a session on health and fitness, a session on, I don't know, it was all about women and women empowerment and the different things we deal with. So there were there were 4 or 5 different breakouts, and I was one of them. So the idea of the booth was really to give information so people would come to my session. So now I'm thinking, I need a booth? What? So I had to start thinking about what I'm going to do with all of that. And so here's the point. The point is, I kept spending a lot of time talking myself out of it instead of preparing for it, right? I mean, literally, I'm sitting there, keep telling myself, I'm not going to do this. And as I told Todd, we don't need to get into this part of it, but even walking into a church for me was a huge step. I have a really long background there. So, and it's not that I'm not a believer, I just haven't walked into a church for a very long time.
Yeah.
So I just kept waking up, and I loved it. It's really funny. It's like things kept speaking to me. One day I woke up and I saw this quote, and I sent it to Todd. It said, this quote said, God has not called me to be successful. He has called me to be faithful. And I thought, excuse my language. Okay, I thought, holy crap. Even if you're not a believer, I'm like, that's why I'm successful. I was successful because I was faithful. Period. I believed it would work. So I kept doing it even on the days that were hard and it didn't work. I just kept going. I kept having faith. And it's like, that's true. I wasn't called to be successful. I was called to believe and just keep going and keep spreading and keep inviting and keep doing, even when it's hard. So I really related to it. And I woke up and I texted to Todd because I figured he would relate to it on an even deeper level than I was relating to it at the time. Anyhow, so fast forward, we're about a week in, and I finally get everything together. And I'm texting this woman like crazy a week beforehand, asking, so I know I asked you if I'll have, a projector that actually projects my computer. I asked you if I would have power and, because I'm going to shake things up because I want to serve Shakeology samples the way I make it, because I can't stand when people get it and tell me it's gross, because I know it's not if you make it right. So I'm thinking of all these things that I want to do and how I need power and electricity and, a projector and technology and things to do that. So I'm making sure I have all that before I prepare it. And then literally the 2 nights before, the weekend before, Thursday and Friday, I'm still talking myself out of it. I finally have the flyer, finally have the business card, finally have the presentation, redid my transformation video, and I'm still not feeling comfortable walking in there. I don't know these people. I don't know what I'm walking into, and I don't want to do this. And I'm telling myself, so you'll notice my post around that time. I kept posting, what I kept posting on my Facebook wall is failure is the only option. Like, you don't have a choice. I kept trying to convince myself, you are going to this, even if you don't want to, because what's the worst that's going to happen? You're going to fail. The worst that's going to happen is you're going to open your mouth, and everybody's going to think you're an idiot, and you don't belong, and it sucks, and it just went horrible. Oh, well. That's the worst that could happen, right? So I kept telling myself every morning, failure is the only option. Lindsay, you don't have any other option but to go in there and fail. And that's kind of what I kept telling myself. And I kept telling myself, if I didn't go there and try, then, that would have been a different failure, right? Like, at least I gave it a shot. So I get up Saturday morning, I do it, and I go, and it's amazing because from the moment I got there, I knew I belonged there. And that's what was crazy. From the moment I got there, I'm going to get all emotional on you. I'm going to try not to. But from the moment I got there, the woman comes and introduces herself to me, and then she introduces me to her son, and she says, we're going to give you the worship room, the main auditorium, because you were so concerned about everything projecting, so we want to put you in the main room. And I walk in, it's a small congregation, so it's a room about maybe 200 seats that would fill this room. But it's, 3 huge screens. They got a awesome Christian rock band playing, and they have, some other music playing, but the guy's up there and he's singing the fight song, which I love. I don't know if you ever heard that song by Rachel something, but he's singing it. And I'm really digging the music, and I'm talking to her son, and he's trying to get all my stuff to match their system, because I put it to PowerPoint, but now it's going on to their, they have all that electrical equipment with the sound and everything else. They got all their computer stuff. So we got to convert things. So I'm a little stressed because I have to go and convert things, but I get it there, we get it converted, and somewhere in the midst of this, I don't know what I asked her son, but I asked him something where he informed me, I don't remember exactly how it came about, but she happens to be the pastor's wife. So this is not just the church she attends, this is her church, right? This is her congregation. This is the congregation they built. And she reached out and invited me to come to it. And she vetted me thoroughly about what it is I charge. Do you eat clean? Do you eat healthy? Is this basically, she didn't want any gimmicks. Yeah. So she vetted me thoroughly there, totally vetted me on whether or not everything I did was legitimate, whole, clean eating and workouts and not, wraps and pills and whatever. She wanted to know that. She never once said, are you a believer? She never once said, oh, well, I can't. And that was huge for me. Again, we'll get into my background. That was huge for me. One of my big things with churches and everything else is judgment. I was born and raised in a Christian school, and I've gone through a lot. So I'm not big on judgment. And so all of a sudden I'm feeling the vibe of all these women that are there too. We've got women all over the place with these beautiful tattoos. I like tattoos. Anyhow, my point is, I'm looking around and these women all go to this church, and it's just an amazing gamut of women that were there. And then, so I get this main stage, they get it going, and now I'm just concerned that how many people will be in my breakout? Because what happens is they go to lunch and they bring their lunch into their breakouts. They don't really have to come back to a breakout. They didn't have to sign up beforehand. And so I was pretty blessed in the sense that there were about 200 people there. There was like 180 to 200 people there. And there were 4 or 5 breakouts to go to, and mine had the largest attendance of about 50 people. Wow. And what was really cool is once they finally got out of their seats to go drink the Shakeology and I say I brought one of my challengers. I didn't even bring a coach. I brought a challenger. I brought Wendy with me because I've tried to make her a coach. She won't do it, and that's fine. But she is the most positive person to have around you. She's just completely positive. So I knew that's who I needed. And I said, Wendy, will you go do this with me? Because I knew no matter what I asked for, she's a giver, and she was going to give and just make everything okay, no matter what, right? So there are all these we decided to do little Dixie cups so that they could try a strawberry and a chocolate and a vanilla and not a whole shake. And what was amazing is they kept coming up and getting and drinking more. So that's good because, they didn't hate it because they want to try the next sample and the next sample. And then they probably didn't expect it. Deanna didn't ask me. Deanna's her name, Deanna Brand. She didn't ask me to give anything away, but I did 3 or 4 giveaways. I happen to already own P90X2. I'm getting another copy of P90X2. So I gave that away while I was there by calling out names. I had ordered some shaker cups. You get 6 for $9.95 as a coach that say Shakeology. And I put some sample packs in them, and I put them in a Shakeology reusable bag, and I, gave those away. I want to say I spent about $50 on, coach materials that you give away for information and giveaways. Mm-hmm. And then I spent $16 on the business cards only because I wanted to upgrade them to a cuter looking thing. I could have got them free, honestly. I chose to have this nice, cool looking pattern and everything else. And I did a business card, and then I made my flyers at home myself. I used Canva, and I printed them, so that was my own ink. And then I did buy a sample thing of Shakeology where I gave away 6 sample packets inside those cups, but I only wound up using like 8. So that's like 14 out of the whole box of 24. So, maybe I spent about $150 on this whole thing, and it wasn't even asked of me to spend that. I wasn't asked to bring all that or do all that. I was just asked to come present. I didn't have to pay to be there. By the way, the other people who attended, the people who actually were attendees, paid $25 to $30 to be there because this was an event to raise money for, I can't remember exactly what it was in the end, but it was an event to raise money for children, some sort of a children's outreach program that they help. So everything went to, a nonprofit, whatever, it was being donated, right? And so the other women who attended this event paid their $25 or $30 for a ticket. They were selling these cute shirts. I bought shirts because they were cute. But anyhow, point is, I probably invested about $150 in max. And honestly, so far I've had 5 or 6 people who have Facebooked me. And at the end of that presentation, the coolest part was I only had 30 minutes, right? And I knew that because I knew that the next person was taking this main stage. And she told me that beforehand. So I was supposed to wrap it up by that time. It was really hard though, because then they all wanted to talk to me. They really did. They were all down there going, I brought all my programs. I own a lot of programs. You'd be amazed how many I actually own. I own like probably 12 to 15 of the programs that Beachbody offers. So I brought all of them with their complete nutrition guides and containers and everything, and I kind of set them out so they could see, yes, I own these and I bought them and I do this. So they wanted to flip through them and they'd heard of this one and heard of that one and how to use this one. And so how'd you make this? How'd you drink this? And wow, it's impressive and it's amazing. And how much were you before? And even though it was in my presentation, there were all these questions. And I'm answering the questions, but I have to get out of there. And I'm like, my information's on everything. And I did. I made sure some information on like everything. It's on the flyer. It's on the card. It's on the Shakeology packet. You can contact me. So this was Saturday. I've had about 6 people Facebook friend me, which has also then led to what? I have more friends of friends, right? More people seeing what I'm posting. So have I signed anybody up from that yet? No, I haven't, but I have built relationships. And I definitely felt I belonged there. And I definitely feel like I've now opened myself up to a different market of people. I shouldn't say of people, but just a different market, people I didn't know, right? So I opened myself to a different market. And the other cool thing is while I was there, an old parent, her child is now in 2nd grade, came and gave me this huge, she tapped me from behind and gave me this huge hug and tells me, Javea talks about you all the time, still Mrs. Kumar. So one of my parents actually attends this church. So that made me incredible, right? It's pretty cool. Anyhow, it was huge though. I can't tell you how much I talked myself out of it, and I honestly believe deep down that there's a whole lot more to come from this situation that's already unfolded.
Yeah. So what do you think was what was the biggest hurdle you were trying to jump over in your mind to get yourself not to do this? Was it, I'm going to look like an idiot on stage, or what was it that you were thinking about that was holding you back initially? Or was it just a fear of speaking in front of people?
I don't have as much fear of speaking in front of people as I used to, probably because I'm a teacher.
Yeah.
I do have fear of speaking in front of my superiors. Like I get called often to go hold professional developments and things, and then I know that and Lisa's shaking her head, because then I know that Robert Soley, you don't know this name, but I know that these people who are head of curriculum are there watching me. Yeah. And I teach this stuff for a living, and I know they're listening to what I say, and so I get afraid of that. I get afraid that I'm going to say the wrong thing in front of people who are superior to me.
Do you think that's what it was with the Beachbody thing? You're just afraid you're going to say the wrong thing?
No. In this particular case, I actually was not afraid at all to share my knowledge and what I know. I was not afraid to necessarily go tell these people what I've done or what I know or share that. That was not my fear at all. Mm-hmm. My fear was, it's hard to really, it's not hard to explain. It's easy to explain, I guess. My fear was, okay, so as I mentioned earlier in this conversation, my background is, I was raised in such a way that I used to know the Bible, I used to know scripture, I used to be in church, etc. I don't practice or know any of that. So my fear was that nobody would listen to me or believe me because I'm not a member or I don't belong.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I felt like it wasn't like they should have picked somebody who was part of them. And that was where this cool thing took place, because that's not what, it's almost like I was brought into what was them.
Yeah.
Without judgment, right? So it was like from the moment I got there, I'm like, oh, okay, I do belong here. It's going to be okay. And then I just became more concerned that these people wouldn't show up to my session. I'd overplanned and brought all this stuff and I hope they show up. But But it was really hard. It was really hard for me to, it was really hard for me to cross that line. I think that I shouldn't say if I ever, I think that when I make it to umpteenth star diamond, I won't give it a number, but when I make it there and I take a stage, I'm sure I'll be petrified, because once again, these will be people who are absolutely at a higher level than where I'm at, right? I'm sharing something with them where they've already made it.
Mm-hmm.
So in this particular case, that wasn't the fear. The fear was, it's so hard. The fear is very much so more personal, that I just wasn't ready to cross over and do that, but I just pushed myself to do it, even though I didn't want to do it.
Yeah. I know for my wife, because there's a lot of fears that coaches have, whether it's being on video. That was a big one for you, Lindsay, was being on video.
Still is. I hate looking at myself. Yeah.
Now you're pretty comfortable on video. You might critique yourself.
Yeah.
But that's my wife with video. She hates being on video, and the reason being is because when she sees herself on video, she sees every single imperfection. Mm-hmm. That's the way her mind works right now. So what do you think is the biggest factor that helped you get over that fear and really just do it? Like what did you focus on?
The video part, or even, because it's funny you say that, because even on stage I kept thinking that too. So I think
just getting over the fear, what played the biggest role in helping you decide I'm going to do this?
Okay, so it's a constant pep talk in my mind. It really is. Like I told you, every day. While I was there, I also got to meet people that already do know me on Facebook, and people. It's a pretty big city, Stockton, but it's kind of amazing when you're a teacher, and I've been a coupon. When you're out in the community, how many people you actually do know. So while I was there were other people in the community I did wind up knowing that were at this event, and some of them have already asked me about what I've done, and I knew I had an answer for you. There it is. And so it was funny, because one of these ladies, somebody was talking about, somebody had brought up, somebody had asked me about Beachbody, and I was explaining it, and finally she goes, oh, so it's not just for weight loss though. She goes, it's really just for life change. And I said, yes, absolutely. And then she said, yeah, well, I get it. I'm a recovering alcoholic. I've been sober for 10 years, and I'm a sponsor for such and such people. And we started having this conversation where I told her, yes, that's exactly what I can present to people is my story, and my story is what they see on the outside, the superficial. But when people who really know me, when you really get to know me, and those that really do know me and knew me before, know just how much I've changed. And I mentioned this on stage as well, to the point that here I am in front of all you people, and it's led me here. I mean, that's huge, right? So what I told one of these girls is, she was talking about how Facebook, the woman who was recovering alcoholic was talking about how Facebook is so negative and down all the time. And another girl who's been watching me for a long time there, I said, well, Amanda could tell you, I said, there's nothing negative and down about my Facebook page, so go ahead and follow me on Facebook. Amanda goes, oh no, it's positive every morning. Every morning I wake up, and she goes, she's so inspirational, you just have to turn her off sometimes. It's too loud. And I told Amanda, I looked at her, and it's the first time I think I've ever really said it out loud to somebody. But I said, I know people think I do that for them, but I do it for me. I mean, it helps other people, I get it, but it is honestly, I wake up each morning based off personal development. I write down 3 things three things I'm grateful for, or positive about, or happy for, something PD taught me. And then I make sure I put up a positive post each morning. And I do these things each and every morning, more to set the stage for the fact that this day is going to be positive, and my life's going to be positive, and nobody is going to mess that up. And so that really is what gets me over fear, is my pep talks. I told you, if you started to watch my Facebook feed, you may not have known that internally what was happening when I kept saying failure is the only option. I said it like 2 or 3 days in a row. I was pep talking myself that you are going to do this. And so that's the next answer to your question, Todd. I tell people when I invite them all the time, when I get them on the phone, I talk to them. I call it, I don't know if anybody else in Beachbody's call it the trifecta, but I call it the trifecta. I tell them it's not just the nutrition, and it's not just the workout program. I said the challenge group that I joined changed my life. Yeah. I said, honestly, my husband for 7 months, back in July of 2013, shortly after that, he got a burnt copy of P90X, found his free coach, Todd Warren, and kept telling me, Todd says I need to drink Shakeology. Todd says I need to buy this and that. And I kept telling my husband, okay, forgive me. I kept telling my husband, you're a crackhead. We're not going to buy any of that. We're not getting any of that. It's a gimmick, and we're not getting it. It's not going to happen. So Todd Moore can tell you whatever you want.
There's no coupon for it.
No, there's no coupons for it. And he kept begging me and kept saying, P90X free command. I said, will you please do this challenge group with me? Please. And I said, fine. And so here's the thing. I tell people all the time when I get them on a call and an invite, if I had never done that challenge group, I can guarantee you I would not be who I am today. I can guarantee it. I can guarantee you I would not have stayed on that path, because we can only be on a path alone for so long.
Yeah.
You really can. And I explain, it's funny, I told this in my presentation to that day in that church. I said, it's really funny being in front of you, I didn't say being in front of you, but it's funny that my analogy when I always talk to people was this. If you are getting up each day and going to church every Sunday, and you're going to Bible study every Saturday, and you're at every Wednesday service, and these are the people you surround yourself with, and that's the life you live. If you get up every day and you plug into a challenge group, and you're looking at the nutrition people are posting, and they're all pushing play, this is what you start to live, breathe, and walk. You surround yourself around people you want to be like. Yeah. You surround yourself by what you want. And if you're not going to surround yourself by that, the reason you're in a place you don't want to be in is you're already surrounded by things you don't want. So had I not joined that group, and if I had not gone down that path, I would not be here today. I don't believe I'd be here today. So long answer to part of your other question. I self-talk myself through everything, but I've learned after your challenge group, put it out there. Put it out there. And that's why I put out there, failure's the only option. I put it out there all the time. I'm going to do this. I'm going to say that. There's not a whole lot I hold back anymore. I actually made a big, long post. It's huge. I'm not ready to put it out there yet. But I try to put it all out there as soon as it weighs on me heavy, because then it's almost hard to turn back. Once everybody knows you're accountable and it's out there and this is what you're living and this is what you're walking. And honestly, again, I can relate it back to religion or a walk with Christ or anything. If you're going to hide behind it, then you're not living it. You got to put it out there. Yeah. And that's really how you get over fear. You get over fear by just saying, I'm not afraid of it. And you talk yourself through it and you put yourself out there, because what's the worst that could happen? And I will just go ahead and, I don't remember which book I read it in. I think it's The Compound Effect. I don't think it was The Slight Edge, but I loved it. It was one of those books. When the author said, I loved it. It was a realization for me. When he said, he started talking about funerals. And when he realized that, only about 10 people at your funeral cry, and half of them go home early if it's raining. So you got 5 people at your funeral crying after you die. That basically you're gone. There's only 5 people who really care that you're gone anyways. And the only people who get a huge turnout and everybody's going to stay in the rain are Martin Luther King and John F. Kennedy. The people who weren't afraid, we can keep going on. Those just happen to be political leaders. Gandhi, people who were not afraid to say, this is what I believe, this is what I stand for. Those are the only people. So why do you care? That he was talking himself through a sales pitch in this book. He didn't want to go to the sales pitch because he was afraid that people wouldn't buy from him. And he started thinking, so I go there and they don't buy from me. Who cares? Are they going to show up at my funeral? Are they going to cry? Do they really care about my life? They don't care. Who cares? That's really, it's about, and it's funny because Molly would have probably loved this, because that was what this thing was all about too. It was about, it was called Beautiful, but it was Be Beautiful. And it was about how, and it was all about God though. It's about how we're perfect in God's image, right? But the idea was though that with the women without the makeup, women without this, without that, you were made and you are beautiful and you are you. And your imperfections are beautiful and there's nothing that's wrong about you. You have been, all the things you feel, your insecurities, your beauty, etc. You've been made this way in his image. So you are perfect. There is nothing that's imperfect about you. And it's funny because I do the same thing on video. I stare here and look at my cheeks. I look at that. I look at this. And so on that stage, when I was presenting on that stage, of course I put together, and we all do this, we put together our best shots of ourselves, our best videos, our best workouts. And then especially if we make huge progress, we put together our worst befores. Not the ones where, you put it all together that way on purpose. Yeah. So as I'm standing up there, I keep thinking, are they actually going to see the muscle I have? I know in that picture I got some great muscle. Should I start? So you start to wonder what they're thinking. And why does it matter? So I'm sorry, long answer. You know me, I'm long-winded, but really that's really how I started to get over it. And I'm a happier person. The more that I give up, the more that I give away, who cares? Who are you and why do I care? You want to follow me? Great. You don't, go away. the more I give that away and realize it doesn't matter, okay, so I'm going to take this one step further and I'll stop. But my long post I didn't post about, I love this. I'm going to give it to you guys too, because I haven't posted it yet. I don't know if I will. But the speaker, her name is Debbie Aldstroff. It's Aldsroff. She's a writer, author, Christian woman who's built huge congregations over time and speaker, whatever. She said the most profound thing to me that spoke to me, though. She said, so let me give you a small testimony of her, though. She was, found Jesus young and married young, and her husband built a congregation, a church, and became a big congregation, a church. Were married for like 14 years, and she was completely living, she calls it the Stepford Christian life, because she was everything she was supposed to be. And then one day her husband, and she had like no idea, she didn't say why either, came home to her and said, 14 years later, said to her, I've never loved you, and filed for divorce. And they had 2 kids, and here they had this whole church, and they built this whole thing, and it was all gone. And then all these other problems started happening. I mean, other things, medical things, all these things just spiraling out of control, and she was just really questioning her belief in God and everything else. But set that aside. What she said that really spoke to me was, I built my foundation on all the wrong things. I built my foundation on people and on things, and you lose them. Everybody loses people and everybody loses things. Your foundation has to be on God, because that's the only thing that stays. You are His, and He is, He is yours. So He's never going to leave. So when you build your foundation on all the wrong things, when you build your foundation on my husband was my number one love in my life and not God, when you build your foundation on all of these things, we all lose. We all experience loss. We all experience loss of the people we love. We all experience loss of relationships when things change. And we all experience loss of possessions that we built, houses and car, whatever, businesses. And what she was saying is that the whole thing brought her to the realization that she had built her foundation in life on the wrong things. Although she was preaching and living and ministering to all these women and people, she woke up and realized that her lesson to learn was she had not given all of herself to God and her heart to God, and she'd given it to her kids and her husband, and that's who was first. And as a result, without even realizing it was happening, what was happening, it was all gone. So why do I bring that up here is that's part of the fear. There's nothing to be afraid of. I mean, all these people, including my kids and my husband and the people I didn't know, as I said, who's going to cry for you at your funeral? Who's going to be there? Doesn't matter. Who matters in the end, really, right? Yeah. What is your purpose? What is it you believe in? What are you going for? And we all have them, though. We all have these imperfections and these fears. We all believe all the worst things about us. We believe that's what people see. And it's funny how that's not even what they see. I get people on a daily basis who tell me, and they mean it, and they're crazy. That's okay. But they go, you can't lose any more weight, Lindsay. You need to stop. You'll be too thin. I'm like, guys, I'm 140.
I love that one.
I know. I'm like, 10 more pounds is not going to kill me. Trust me. I could feel it here. I could feel it there. I know where I'm messing up. Okay, I get it. But my point is, I get all these compliments all the time. I really do. And you would think I would take those and think, you're awesome. And there are days I do. There are days I think you're awesome. But then most days, like Molly or like anybody else, I pick apart everything that's wrong with me. And we just need to really move past that, because I don't know. Long answer. Sorry. Move on.
No, that's great. So you were saying a big part of what played into the opportunity to actually present to these people was just your consistency with posting on Facebook. Do you have any sort of, because a big struggle for a lot of coaches, and even me sometimes, is like, what the heck do I post? If I'm going to post 3 times a day, what do I talk about?
Yeah.
That's actually what we're going to be covering, what the new Elevation Coach Basics covers. If you guys are starting with that with us today, you got to check it out. But it's going to walk you through sort of what you can post on your wall. But for you, Lindsay, do you have some sort of secret formula for what you post on certain days, or you post certain things in the morning? I know you said you posted something inspirational or motivational once a day for yourself, just to keep yourself focused. And I think that's awesome. I think we should all be doing that. But how do you come up with content as far as for what to put on your Facebook wall?
Okay, so in all honesty, I think the only secret formula, and I'll tell you that I don't always have my own secret formula, okay? But when you have it, don't lose it. And for me, I'm sure you all have moments of the day. I'm at least, I don't know if men do, but I know women do, because my husband, I don't think ever has deep thoughts. I don't know. We talk about it. He's like, I'm never thinking anything, honey. I'm like, whatever. Okay. So women, okay, men, I'm not so sure. Maybe you do. I don't know. But for me, it tends to be, I mean, I could go on and on right now. I've been having a lot of them. But the number one secret, honestly, and I don't have it every day, is be as genuine and as real and as open as possible. So when you do have a thought or idea, something fleeting that passes your mind and you're thinking, I should say that, I say grab out your cell phone and note it down that moment, write it down, etc. Because later that night when you're not at work and you're not busy, you're going to forget and you're going to want to post about it. And so these little things pop up all the time. I have a few I haven't even posted about yet. And I'll just give you one, and then I will tell you, though, the rest of my routine, because this doesn't happen all the time. But this is really how I try to post the most. I try to make my posts as deep, honest, and real as possible, but then life gets busy, and the day is going by, and nothing has hit me that I really want to talk about. So I fall back on other things, and we'll talk about that. But a good example is another long story. But my mom is 57, and there's a lot of issues there, health issues, different things. And she recently asked me to take her to the doctor, and I took her to the doctor, and we're driving from one city to the other, and x-rays and everything else. And then she says, will you stop and get dinner? Can we stop and get dinner? And I said, sure, I'm gonna go home and make pizza, cauliflower pizza for me, for the boys and myself. I said, but I will stop and get you dinner. Where do you wanna go? And she said, oh, I'll just go to McDonald's. And I said, okay. And it dawned on, I have a brand new car. And I told her she couldn't eat in the car because it was a new car. But so we go to McDonald's, and it dawned on me, and this is, I went to Jack in the Box on my way to my cruise in June, and we went inside and we ate, and it was the worst tasting food I'd had in a long time. And it dawned, I just have a cramp. It dawned on me that I have not driven through a drive-through in 2 years, I don't think. I was really trying to remember, but I thought I was gonna hit the side of the freaking side wall of the thing with my car because it's new and it's bigger. And I'm like all worried because I haven't driven through a drive. I mean, it's been that long, and I used to live in drive-throughs. I'm not kidding you. I was like the worst of the worst eaters. Okay, I mean, there was nothing. I didn't put vegetables or fruits in my cart ever. Everything was boxed in drive-through and pizza, always in my life prior to this. And so she said, I said, what do you want, Mom? And she said, I want a large Big Mac meal. So I ordered this large Big Mac meal. It was $7.29. It's the only thing on the receipt. And I kept the receipt. It was on September 30th, and I took a picture of it, and I'm still waiting to put up a post about this receipt because it was monumental to me that I haven't driven through a drive-through in 2 years because I'm really trying to think of the last time I drove through one for myself, and that one Big Mac meal was $7.29, but then all these people, because we all get it, all these people you talk to who will tell you, well, that's too expensive, right? And I'm thinking, it really just kind of hit home, like, really? Because I know, well, this, I'm not having McDonald's, but I know you're eating out. And this one meal was $7.29. And then my mom looks at me, so this is the best part. And she goes, you're really not going to eat with me? And I go, no, I'm going to eat at home. I told you, Mom. And she goes, you don't eat McDonald's ever? Because we were talking about the drive-thru going through it. Yeah. And I said, no, I don't. I said, and she goes, well, it's okay every once in a while. And I said, no, I do cheat. I mean, I do. I go out and eat things that aren't in my plan. I said, but I generally sit down at a restaurant. I let them serve me, and it's like Mexican food, or, you know, it's, and I don't know. I can't guarantee you that it's not all processed and GMO, but I can guarantee you McDonald's is poison. And I told her that. I said, I can guarantee you just spent $7.29 to further kill yourself, and it's poison, and I just can't do it. I would much rather enjoy what I'm putting in my mouth if it's going to wind up being a 2,000 calorie meal. I want to sit down and enjoy it and know that, you know, it's not poison and cardboard and crap. So, and she was baffled. I mean, I think she really was just shocked. So I have to make a post about that. That's my point. Things in your life happen every day. And the moment they happen, like at that moment, I said, I'm taking this picture and I'm going to make a post about this. And I've just been thinking of the right words to put it in, because you could tell I'm long-winded. And so, you know, sometimes people, Melanie Mitchell is really long-winded. So when my husband tries to tell me my posts are too long, I'm like, go read Melanie Mitchell's stuff, because she's a top coach. Her stuff is long. So her stuff is always long too. But my husband's like, nobody reads that. I only got halfway through that. I'm like, whatever. So I always try hard to be concise as well as best I can, because I'm long-winded. But yeah, take those genuine moments that really affect you as best you can. And like I said, for me, it hits me mostly in the morning. That one hit me that moment, took a picture. But then there are days I'm busy. I do have 3 kids, but one is away at boot camp in the Marines right now. But I have 2 boys at home. I have Sahil, he's in pharmacy school. I'm working. I'm doing all these things. And actually I find my Mondays and my Tuesdays the most just go by. I just like wake up and the day's over and I'm like, I don't know what I did. I'm like, where did it all go? So I try to be sure then that I post at least once a week something about me drinking Shakeology or showing my Shakeology. I learned inside actually the boot camp group, which had nothing to do with me. That's something I learned, it had to do with something Josh Spencer ran, where Julie Henderson and some of the other gals said, really photo stage that type of stuff. Don't just take and I still just take a picture myself, but they were like, take your Shakeology and put a background of keys and sunglasses. So the focus isn't just on Shakeology and people don't feel like you're just trying to show off your Shakeology, but you got this really photo stage looking picture. So they talked a lot about putting other things and props in the pictures that draw the attention elsewhere too. So I do though. I try to post about Shakeology once a week. Belinda once asked me, and I think I actually asked Todd, because Todd said, you don't want to just spew your wall with come to my group, come to my group, come to my group, come to my group. And I said, well, Todd, I kind of do that. I don't know if I spew it, but I do say come to my group. I'm running a group. And I think I do that about 2 to 4 times a month. I do it like once bi-weekly or once a week where I will post my next group is starting and, who wants to join type thing. So I try to make that a priority. I try to find, Sahil's better at it than I am, but I try to find something funny at least once a week to put up. Sahil's always better at that than I am, and sometimes they're really offensive. And I'm like, I can't put that up. And he's like, why not? I'm like, because it's offensive. But so I try to find something funny to put up as well. And I would say, I tell all my coaches this, and I told my sister this recently, more than anything, what people want is to be in your life. I know that sounds strange. They want to be a part of your life. They feel like they know you. It really is just relationship building. It's amazing how I've never met Carl Deichler. I was at Nashville and he was there. I didn't get to shake his hand and actually meet him, but I feel like I know him. Like when I play his videos, it's like, hey, that's the CEO, and like he's my best friend. No, that's how I feel. Yeah. Right? Deep down, I feel like I know Carl. Like I could just hang with him. And that's honestly how people feel about you and how they feel about me. And I know that's kind of surreal to think about. I remember my very first challenge group, and I was showing all the girls at work, oh, look, so-and-so put their video up, and their video up, they go, well, yeah, they're trying to be like you. And I'm like, why do they want to be like me? Right? So I would say share you. What are you? Share your kids, your family, etc. And I try, and I notice Todd does it too. He does a good job of it, sharing his family, but not oversharing them. So I try to filter that a little bit, only because, okay, so I don't know how people are on here and how taboo this is, but if you're a woman and you're a mom, I'm sure deep down sometimes you probably maybe have thought about, even before Beachbody, you probably thought about, well, I'm putting my kids out on social media, that's a little scary. Yeah. So I try to filter a little bit of what I put out with my kids a little bit. Like I said, it's out there, but really deep down, I feel like in the world we live in, if somebody wanted to find one of my kids, they could find him anyway. So there's just so much out there, but I try not to make them the main focus so that they're not the main whatever thing to look at. And I do try to include my children in what I post, because then they see I'm a mom, right? They see I'm an everyday person. I try to include my teaching because they see that's what I do for a living. I try, now that I do Beachbody for a living, I've tried really hard to make that forefront too, and not just teaching. I've tried really hard to make it so people realize I'm a coach and a teacher, not one or the other, that they realize they're both my businesses. Because right now I'm not just a coach, and so, but I just think both are important, that they realize how serious I take coaching. So include your life, share you really as best as you can. Do you like music? Share about music. Whatever it is you like. Every once in a while on Sunday I go couponing and I'll still put it up. And I actually just had a guy at work the other day. He loves to give me a hard time about this whole, he's probably my biggest hard time giver about my whole transition. He'll walk around and go, Kumar, if I have to, anybody else talk, and I don't talk about diet, so the word diet doesn't come out of my mouth. He goes, Kumar, is somebody else talking about a diet again? Do you talk to those kids about calorie counting? Okay. Anyhow, point is, he brought up my couponing post, so he's definitely one of my stalkers. He's somebody who's always watching me, because he's never posting on my stuff, but he goes, hey, I saw the shopping trip you had the other day. And so he's definitely always watching what I'm posting. But my point is he's impressed with my shopping trip, but so are half the other women who are part of my group. So like, can you teach me how to coupon? I'm like, I'd love to, but believe it or not, it's harder than teaching you how to do all this other stuff you want. Couponing, it used to be easy. It's not. But I share that though, because that's part of what I do. I try to save money. I'm just like you guys. I mean, it's really funny. I tell people that when I get them on an invite. I'm just like you. When I first heard $140 for Shakeology, I said, yeah, your coach Todd is smoking crack, and we're not buying that. Sorry.
What I do. What I do.
Here I am, and I would not go a day without it.
Yeah.
I won't go a day without it now. So, you know, anybody can start to see the value of something. So share what you are. I share the fact that I'm cheap and I like to coupon, and women like that. I share the fact that I'm a mom. Women like that. I share the fact I'm a teacher. They like that. I share the fact that I look like an idiot when I'm doing size dancing. They like that. So you just want to share you and how real that you are. And if you have nothing at all to share, have a few backups, such as I wake up and I post an inspirational. I'm going to post about Shakeology. I'm going to have something funny. So if you have nothing that's inspired you to share you, just make sure you have a few backups for those days where nothing is coming to mind.
Yeah. No, that's great advice. Just honestly, I think that's where a lot of coaches get so overwhelmed, is they're trying to post who they want to become rather than who they are. They're scared to share struggles. They're scared to share mistakes. They're scared to share a picture without makeup or something. Or for guys, they're really scared to share any failure. And that was a big one for me. I remember one of my YouTube videos from early on is when, like, I had this whole plan, this whole marketing thing where I went hard after Body Beast when it first came out. I was going to bulk. I was going to get crazy huge. I failed miserably. I mean, I went up over 200 pounds again, and I failed that program miserably. And I did a post on YouTube making a video saying, you know, I royally screwed this up, guys. And I'm just here to show you that I am getting back on track. I'm going to do the ultimate reset. And I got such a great response from that video just by sharing my mistakes, because all of a sudden I was relatable. Coach Todd wasn't perfect anymore. He screws up just like I do. But yeah, definitely share who you are now, what you're struggling with, what your goals are. And I think if you want to step outside of your comfort zone, what this whole call is about, one of the best things you can do is publicly share your goals. Mm-hmm. Just make a video of it. Make a video and just say, you know what, this is more for me than it is for you guys, but I want to put this out there and say that I am going to lose 60 pounds in the next 6 months. And if you want to share your coaching goals, which might be even more scary for you, I personally can't share my coaching goals publicly because I could get fired. If my work knew that my goal was to quit my job, I would get fired. That's why I can't share that. But I definitely, if you're able to do that, step outside your comfort zone and make that video and tell people what you're about, what you're working toward, and then, like Lindsay was saying, just share that journey. Share the failures, the mistakes, the successes that lead up to you reaching that goal. And that's how you can come up with some great ideas on what to post. When my kids are out playing and stuff, I'll just, like, I think yesterday, I just snapped a picture of them. Abby was just, her and Jude were playing with sticks, and they're like, Dad, did you know that I love God more than anything, even more than our house? And I was like, Abby, that is wonderful, Abby. And she goes, yeah, and you're supposed to love God more than Mommy. I was like, you are exactly right, Abby. And it was just cool to see that in my children. I was like, you know what? I'm a parent. I want other parents to relate to me. I want to share this moment where I was, you know, really proud of my kids for having a solid understanding of what matters in life. And they might not actually understand that. I know kids just repeat what they hear at really young ages. But it was a moment for me where I was like, oh, this is really cool. And I wanted to share that with people, because I know people can relate with that. So it's just in those moments, all you're doing is sharing your journey. And sharing your journey might require you to step outside your comfort zone. And I think Lindsay did a wonderful job of defining what it takes to make that choice to step outside your comfort zone. It's a choice. Period. It's simply a choice. It's like, you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm just going to do it. Same thing with your fitness. You just did it. You made a choice. You know, you got Beachbody's slogan that pops up at the end of every workout. Decide, commit, or
Succeed.
decide, commit, succeed. It begins with a decision. If you want to step outside your comfort zone, if you want to be able to reach people and help them reach their goals, reach people that you've never reached out to before, like Lindsay did with these women at this church, it's going to be uncomfortable, but the result is a huge blessing and a huge opportunity. I mean, I highly encourage you guys to watch last week's Elevation Coach team call, where we're talking about, you know, what it takes, you know, what's the secret of motivation? How do you get motivated and how do you stay motivated? And it comes down to the same thing. It's a choice. You surround yourself with people with the same kind of goals, the same kind of mindset. You read things that that help you focus on your goals. You listen to things that help you focus on your goals. You decide to do things that help you work toward your goals. It's a decision on every single front. And I mean, a lot of you guys have had amazing transformations, and you know that every single day, even now, we are confronted with choices. We can have the McDonald's Big Mac meal, or we can drive 30 minutes across town, spend another 30 minutes preparing dinner for the whole family. It would have been so much easier to order something from McDonald's. But you make a choice. And you know what? This goal matters way more than my temporary satisfaction from this choice. So I'm going to take the higher road. I'm going to take the road less traveled. I'm going to do what most people won't do so I can live a life that most people won't be able to live. And it comes down to choice. So Lindsay, amazing job. It's coming toward 6:30 now.
I want to say one last thing, just one word to what you just said there, because when I was talking to Todd about, because I was nervous about even what to say and what to present, and he said, oh, I know what I would talk about. I would talk about freedom. And I knew what he meant when he meant, well, I think I knew what he meant when he said it. He was talking about the opportunity of being with your kids and your family and your home and things like that. But I kept relating it back to all freedom. The freedom to be in my house, to do my workouts in my home, that put me with my kids. So freedom of choice of those workouts to choose. So I relate it to all freedom, but something you just said, Todd, and dawned on me. Stepping outside your comfort zone is also freedom. The moment you just get rid of that baggage and the crap that is weighing you down because you feel like you're not good enough, you have imperfections, or people aren't going to follow you, or they're not going to like you, or why would, all these things you're telling yourself are lies. And so that's just more freedom. It really is. It's because it's freeing yourself of all these lies. We stay in comfort zones because we're comfortable there, but nothing grows inside a comfort zone. The only time you become better or good at something or see what you can challenge yourself at is when you leave that comfort zone. And on the other side of that is freedom. It's true freedom.
Yeah.
It's quite amazing. So.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Lindsay. I know your Mondays and Tuesdays are busy, so thank you for being on the call.
You're welcome.
And guys, I hope that what Lindsay said really sunk in. And I encourage you guys, you know, figure out ways, be purposeful in getting outside your comfort zone. If you know that you've been avoiding something or avoiding contacting someone that you feel led to either contact, or you've been avoiding making a video you know you need to make, just do it. Make a choice and know that it's gonna be just this huge burden off your shoulders, knowing that you've done it, a huge sense of accomplishment. And it doesn't matter what kind of response you get. You should see, like, one of my best YouTube videos has over 300,000 views now, and it's the one about loose skin after weight loss. You should see some of the things that I cannot repeat that people say in the comments section. I mean, if I was a very sensitive guy, I would break down and cry like a little girl after reading those comments that people post in there. And but then you got, what's really cool is you see all these other people like sticking up for me in the comments, like replying to those haters and the naysayers. And really, guys, you have so many people watching you, even though they're not responding to a video you post. Okay, that's not a failure if nobody responds to your video. I mean, people are seeing what you're putting out there, and it's sparking something in them. And it's either sparking like oh, that's so cool, or wow, that's really bold of them, or they're going to be rooting for you behind the scenes, or maybe you don't even know it, but you're encouraging them to step outside their comfort zone in some way. And you never, ever, ever hear the result of you making a video or you contacting a person. If I wouldn't have reached out to Sahil and said, hey, you should really do this. You should really, you should get Shakeology. I've been drinking it for the last 3 years. Well, at the time I met Sahil, I'd been drinking it for like 2.5 years. I was like, it's amazing. And if he wouldn't have talked Lindsay into taking the drugs, then she wouldn't be where she's at today, losing 143 pounds?
I'm at 143. I've lost 118 pounds in total.
Okay, 118 pounds. She wouldn't be 118 pounds lighter. She wouldn't be inspiring hundreds of women. She wouldn't be a diamond coach. Okay, it's just by a simple step of stepping outside of my comfort zone, I have an amazing opportunity to work with a woman who is incredibly inspiring and a husband who's very funny and fun to have on the team. So just by stepping outside of my comfort zone and inviting that one person to my challenge group, I got a huge blessing from that. Relationships, and also, what Lindsay's doing as a coach is building my business. So that's partly what I love about Beachbody is that we can all help each other build our businesses. And that's what's so cool about the structure of this. But that's a whole nother call. So get out there and just make a choice to move forward, guys. That's what I'm going to end the call with. Is there anything else you want to say real quick, Lindsay, before we get off?
No, I think that's it. Just, thank you. And I hope I didn't bore you guys. I know I talk a lot. It's kind of my thing. Okay.
It was gold. It was gold. Good. All right, guys. Well, take care. Have a great night. I appreciate you guys making the time to be on the call. And just have a blessed week. And let's get out there and inspire people.
Good night.
Bye, guys.
I'll see you guys tomorrow, Lisa. My coaches, I'll see you tomorrow.